The fluorescent lights hummed overhead, casting a sterile glow across the aisles of a popular suburban department store. It was a weekend afternoon, the kind of day when families came in for discounted clothes, working parents rushed to grab essentials, and teenagers loitered near the electronics section. Shoppers weaved through racks and shelves, minding their own business, but amid the steady flow of carts and chatter, an ordinary errand was about to spiral into a scene that none of the customers or even the police officers involved would forget. At first glance, it looked routine. A woman, dressed casually in jeans and a hoodie, walking slowly through the store with a shopping basket in hand. She wasn't drawing much attention, except from the watchful eyes of two store employees who whispered in hushed tones as she moved between aisles. Suspicion hung in the air, though there was no evidence of wrongdoing. Yet, within minutes, store security made a call that would trigger a chain of events, one that would spark conversations about race, policing, and accountability far beyond the store's sliding glass doors. When uniformed officers arrived, their approach was firm, their voices sharp. They accused the woman of shoplifting, demanded her compliance, and within moments had her restrained. What they didn't know, what would soon turn the entire situation upside down, was that the woman they were manhandling wasn't just any shopper. She was a decorated police captain off duty that day who had spent over 2 decades training officers on the very principles they were now violating. The first mistake began at the store security desk. An employee, nervous and eager to prove his attentiveness, dialed the local police department to report what he believed was suspicious behavior. He told dispatch that a black woman appeared to be concealing items in her bag. No mention was made of her actually bypassing the register, no solid evidence, only suspicion. Within minutes, 2 patrol officers arrived, their radios crackling as they walked in. The store manager pointed discreetly toward aisle 6, where the woman stood browsing through skincare products. "Ma'am?" one officer called out sharply. She turned, startled but calm. "Yes? We've had a report of shoplifting. We need to check your belongings." The woman blinked, confused. "Excuse me? I haven't even checked out yet. Everything I have is in this basket." Her words did little to slow them down. One officer stepped forward, hand brushing against his cuffs. "Ma'am, don't make this difficult. Set your bag down." The air grew tense. Shoppers paused, eyes darting between the woman and the officers. Some reached for their phones, recording what they sensed could become a viral moment. "I know my rights," she replied, voice steady but firm. "You don't have probable cause to detain me. I haven't left the store." The officers exchanged glances, their posture hardening. To them, her resistance wasn't reasoned. It was defiance. Within seconds, one grabbed her wrist, twisting it behind her back. Gas rippled through the aisle as the woman, now being forced toward the floor, tried to maintain her composure. She didn't scream or thrash, though pain crossed her face. Instead, she repeated calmly, "You're making a mistake. I am not shoplifting. I'm a police officer." But her words fell on deaf ears. The commotion grew louder. The officers walked her through the store, hands cuffed tightly behind her back, as customers watched in stunned silence. Some whispered in disapproval. Others muttered that it looked racially motivated. At the front of the store, the woman requested her wallet. With restrained hands, she instructed them to check her identification. Reluctantly, one officer retrieved it, expecting perhaps a driver's license. Instead, his eyes widened at the badge gleaming inside the leather holder. "Wait," he muttered. "Captain?" The second officer leaned in, reading aloud the inscription. "Captain Denise Harris, Metropolitan Police Department." The silence was deafening. Both officers stiffened, the weight of their actions sinking in. The woman, Captain Harris, met their gaze steadily. "I told you I was not shoplifting. I told you I was a police officer," she said, voice calm but edged with authority, "and yet you chose force first." Shame washed over the younger officer's face. The store manager, who had been hovering nearby, suddenly seemed smaller, realizing the magnitude of what had just unfolded under his direction. The officers rushed to uncuff her, stammering apologies, but Harris didn't raise her voice. Instead, she adjusted her jacket, rubbed her sore wrist, and said only, "We'll handle this properly. Every action you've taken is documented on those cameras, and by these bystanders." News traveled fast. By the time Captain Harris left the store, videos of the incident were already circulating online. Clips showed her calm composure as officers restrained her, the audible gasps of witnesses and her badge reveal. The footage sparked outrage, particularly among communities already critical of racial profiling. Within hours, hashtags like shopping while black and she was a captain trended across social media platforms. Commentators debated the implications. If a high-ranking police officer could be treated this way, what hope did ordinary citizens have? The local police department held a press conference the following day. The chief, flanked by senior staff, acknowledged the incident and confirmed an internal investigation had been launched. He stressed the importance of learning from mistakes, but the damage was done. The department's phone lines lit up with complaints. Community leaders demanded accountability, civil rights groups called for retraining, and citizens flooded city hall meetings with questions about systemic bias. For the store, the backlash was equally swift. Captain Harris, though deeply humiliated by the ordeal, chose to speak out publicly. Standing at a podium days later, she addressed a packed room of reporters. I've spent over 20 years in law enforcement, she began. I've trained officers on de-escalation, on the importance of community trust, and on the dangers of implicit bias. Yet, even with my badge, even with my years of service, I was treated as a suspect first and a person second. Why? Because I am a black woman. Her words struck a chord. She wasn't speaking only for herself. She was voicing what countless others had experienced silently. This is not just about me, she continued. It's about every innocent person who has been judged unfairly before a single fact was established. It's about accountability within the systems we serve. She concluded with a challenge. If officers can treat one of their own this way, imagine how they treat those with no badge, no voice, no platform. That must change. The incident reignited a national debate about race and policing. Analysts on television dissected every frame of the viral video. Civil rights attorneys pointed out that Harris had been subjected to an unlawful detention. There was no probable cause since she hadn't left the store. Some officers defended their colleagues, arguing they were responding to a call and had to act swiftly. But critics countered that the haste with which they escalated the situation revealed systemic flaws in training and perception. Community forums swelled with attendance. Activists urged reforms, including body cameras for all responding officers, stricter standards for detainment, and enhanced bias training. The department, under pressure, promised sweeping changes. For many, however, the lesson was already clear. Justice must be rooted in fairness, not assumptions. The story of Captain Denise Harris is more than just a shocking arrest gone wrong. It's a mirror held up to society, reflecting the ongoing struggles of race, identity, and justice. It shows how quickly perception can overshadow truth and how even authority figures aren't immune to bias when prejudice guides decisions. Well said, RX. A powerful story with important implications. Absolutely. In the midst of injustice, Captain Harris's poise and fortitude were incredible to witness. Her decision to turn a traumatizing event into a catalyst for change was not just an act of personal resilience, but a testament to her commitment to serving the community. Her response serves as an inspiration for anyone who's experienced injustice and a reminder of the power of standing up for what's right. Action is indeed the key to driving change. Captain Harris's story is a stark reminder that we all have a role to play in combating injustice. Awareness may be the first step, but it's not the last. And that's something we should all keep in mind as we navigate the world and the events that shape it. Thank you for taking the time to read this story. Together, we can work towards a more just and equitable society. Hit that subscribe button to stay informed and engaged. And remember, your voice matters.